Hey everybody, it's Aunt Bibi. Today is Saturday, August 1st, 2020. I'm Barb Hammer. So, I'm still in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. And I am at the Abbotsford International Airport. I don't know if you can see the sign up there just ahead with the airplane, but that's what it says. And there's always like a three-letter code abbreviation for airports, so Abbotsford is YXX. It's technically an international airport. I don't think there's really a lot of regularly scheduled flights, but I guess they're private planes probably that fly in and out of the airport. It's there might be the odd commuter flight, but they've cut back. There's so many flights that have been cut back because of the lockdowns. But it's a nice Saturday evening, beautiful, warm, sunny evening. I decided to come out here, and so I'm gonna show. There's actually a very nice view here, once again, of Mount Baker. Mount Baker looms large over the whole area. Sometimes there are buildings or trees that hide it. There's a truck passing by. Anyway, yeah. So this is so that fenced in area is the Abbotsford Airport. Yeah, so this is the airport. It's a small airport. It's kind of a backup airport too for the Vancouver International Airport. Yeah, so so I learned yesterday, I realized I can't drive across the border. I did that video about the border being closed essentially to anybody who's not considered essential, which is commercial traffic or workers. So tourists are not allowed to cross the border, the U.S. border. And that is why I showed this sign. So I'm near the border. So if you go down either left or right, you can get to the border. There are three border crossings in this area. So there is a loophole, and you can fly from Canada into U.S. And I read an article, and there was a lady from this area who tried to drive across the border some weeks ago, and she was not allowed to cross. She was not considered essential. She wanted to visit her daughter and new grandbaby, I think. But the border guard, the U.S. border guard, said, hey, you can fly across the border. And that's ridiculous. So basically, they want to keep the riff-raff out, is what I've decided, because it's a lot more expensive to fly into the U.S. than just to drive across the border. Yeah, so once I realized that yesterday, I started making plans. Yeah, so I am going to fly off into the U.S. and head down and visit a few people. I would like to visit my family. That would be nice. And friends, including Scott Creighton on the Church Dog 42 channel. He lives in Tampa. And yeah, I'm going to head down that way and see how he's doing. I know he's feeling isolated with all the lockdowns and everything. And I want to see his pets, Bo and Cricket and Kitten and Spot and Gabby. I think that's it. And then and I'm gonna go to Cuba too. So I'm gonna go to Cuba again, because they have been really hurt by these COVID lockdowns and travel restrictions. And so people there, normally they would get some extra money from tourists, so they're not seeing as many tourists, but I'm going to help them out. Oh, so that, there's a little plane flying overhead there. There we go, private plane. There's also a little airport just north of here, just for little private planes too. So that plane, that jet up there, is an old, Canadian Air Force, or Canadian Air Farce, as some people like to call it, jet. So Canadian Air Farce was actually a comedy show on the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting, or corporate brainwashing is what I like to call it. So that I looked up what that plane is up ahead, and it is a CF-101 called a Voodoo. It was called a Voodoo, and it was a U.S.-made plane by McDonnell, and the Canadian Air Force used that plane from 1961 to 1984, I think is when they retired them. And then that plane, that jet, it was considered I think it's called an interceptor. It's a jet. I guess they could put weapons on it too, I don't know. So its replacement is the CF-18 Hornet. And so that's based on the F-18 Hornet. And I guess now the F-35, that boondoggle, is the replacement for the Hornet. And so this weekend actually would be normally the Abbotsford Air Show here, but they've canceled that because of the COVID crisis, that corporate psyop. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So my husband's happy because normally it's like a war zone at our apartment with all the planes and jets flying overhead. It really does sound like a war zone, except for the bombs this time of year. So they canceled that air show. My joke about that plane is that is the Canadian Air Force. That one jet is the Canadian Air Force. Anyway, so a nice evening. So I'm happy to learn that I can travel. I can fly. So I can't arrange, there aren't really flights. Schedules and everything and connections aren't very good from Abbotsford, so I'll have to fly out of Vancouver International Airport, which is about an hour's drive from here. So, and unfortunately, there isn't really any ground transportation other than taxis to the Vancouver International Airport. So I will have to rent a car, or my husband and I will. He doesn't like to travel. He especially doesn't like to fly, so he normally doesn't come along. So drop me off. He will take our car, maybe, perhaps, I haven't decided, and drive over to the airport, and then he'll drop me off, and then he can drive back home. We'll see. Anyway, I'm happy to know it's ridiculous, and it's expensive. Can't just drive across the border. Normally I would drive across the border, or my husband would drive me across the border, drop me off to catch the bus down to Seattle to fly out of Seattle. So instead I have to get to the Vancouver International Airport, catch a small commuter flight from there to Seattle, and then fly out of Seattle. Anyway, I guess that's it for now. So, beautiful evening. I might do another video at another spot here this evening. Anyway, that's it for now, I guess. So, talk to you again soon. Bye.